What a question. Succession planning. You know, when I look back in the 20 years journey I've had, there are only two organizations where I really saw succession planning in some practice. To a large extent, SKF, because that's one organization where they take this process very, very seriously at global level as well as at local country level. Unfortunately, I never saw it in practice in any other organizations around the world, and I mean it when I say it that it's a total disaster at the board level. Because typically, what at the end of the day is succession planning? Succession planning is a science. It's a process of evolving a method, an approach, a framework, by the virtue of which you will identify certain people who can take the organization in those key and critical roles forward when the current incumbent either retires or unfortunately dies or leaves the organization. Now, unfortunately, what has happened across the world is this science has never been given its due. And in the name of succession planning, most organizations are suffering from a permanent disease. And I call that disease as the Crown Prince syndrome. The Crown Prince syndrome is that there is a person who is an identical replica of what a performing leader is doing, identical replica of agreeing to the same things that this individual believes in and disagrees with the same fundamentals that this individual disagrees with. So typically what happens is this success formula is copied and pasted by picking up that crown prince and putting him or her in that particular role. To my mind, that is the number one mistake which makes this whole process of succession planning look like a complete gimmick. And it's a true disaster in its own way, because this is one process where you can actually do wonders to the organization. I have seen classic examples of organizations around the world, without taking names, where a very large organization hires someone for an organization which is a worldwide benchmark organization and makes him a global CEO. Now, when you make that person the global CEO, you start asking questions about that individual's performance from the people who are traditional leaders and who have worked with the previous chairman of the board and previous CEO of the board. Now, who would at the end of the day understand the difference that a change a leader is bringing in? Would it be the people who already exist, who are a part of the old ecosystem? Or it would be people who are unbiased and neutral? I think you know the answer. So typically in such cases, what happens? The people who do these successions, they're consciously checking the performance of these individuals even before they have given them the due period and time for them to evolve into change leaders. And that's why in most cases, SUCCESSOR successions do not work. And that's why in most cases, the chairman and the CEO finds the easiest route to replace a CEO is by finding an internal incumbent. And to my mind, that's a very, very wrong way to drive performance and progress. Because the world around you is not changing in a specific manner. The world around you is changing in an ad hoc manner. The world around you is evolving in an ad hoc manner. You can't predict it. You don't know in which direction your markets are going. You don't even know how your consumers are behaving. All consumer behavior studies are proving that nobody can really predict how the market intelligence will perform. And when the market intelligence cannot be trusted, how can you trust how your consumers will buy your product or services? So in such VUCA times, which unpredictably are surrounding you, you cannot depend upon traditional methods of recruiting and succession planning. And unfortunately, this is one process which has become a mockery for most of the boards around the globe. And you won't believe, for the dissertation that I recently presented, and I recently presented a dissertation on the concept of succession planning for the board and CXOs. And my concept over there was very simple. And I said that this is a complete science and a framework must be utilized to validate who are the people who are relevant to be the successors for key roles, and they must be actually evaluated and assessed on a battery and a series of processes, simulations, assessments to validate their credentials and their readiness to be in those roles where you're going to put them as successors. Unfortunately, we don't see that happening enough. And that is why the leadership disasters that we keep seeing around us, where organizations are hiring CEOs and then firing them or replacing them with another CEO, another CXO, is a common practice today. And the biggest reason for that is because succession planning today across the globe is nothing but a joke.